Okay, folks, welcome back. I think this is okay. All right. So, the two vehicles that we're currently doing right now, I have to do them both at once just because it's drying time. It's just simple drying time. So we got the Irish vehicle over here that I'm going to go ahead and give it another coat of white paint on those areas that it needs. That used to be black plastic, and then we'll go back to working on the green guy. All right, so that away. Get things are getting out of control here. All right, so we've been using this white from Viejo. We're going to need the super readers, as I like to say. This is in the way, of course. And somehow I lost the cap to this. I really have no idea how the hell that even happened. Probably gonna need a little bit more of that. And my water's dirty right now. I don't want to. It's got a little bit of a green to it. So, well, let's see how dirty it is. Maybe it's not that dirty. It's not. Okay. And we're going to thin this down a little bit so it covers and it's not lumpy. And then we're going to go over these spots that used to be black plastic. And then this will get a wash as well. I'd much rather just work on one vehicle, get it complete, move to the other one. Hey Lee, what's happening? You left a like. Thank you. Thank you. I actually looked up to see if there were any model railroad shows here in Florida coming up this weekend. You know, where I might be able to get some HO scale buildings that nobody wants. I don't want to pay full price for them. But there isn't. So we may take a little road trip somewhere, and if I do, I'm probably going to do a video of the place. It's a flea market, but it's a flea market that has several stores. I don't know that any of them have any railroad stuff, but they certainly have die-cast. There's two stores in particular that are really impressive. Unfortunately, I can't find out to make sure they're not, spring break is next week, I think, for college. And, I don't want to, the particular business that I went to is this guy, and he has a stall, but it's closable. In a flea market, there's places that are just like, very rudimentary, and there's some that like have a real store with like air conditioning and everything. I don't know if he's got air conditioning, but he definitely has a legit store, and it may be the size of my great room, my kitchen, living room, dining room. It's kind of hard to say. It's maybe 15 foot wide or something like that, and it's maybe 50 feet deep or something like that. But it is wall to wall with die-cast things, and and some things are collectors and some things are $2. You know, I'm not buying any $15 things. But he literally has everything. It was like overwhelming the last time I went. And the funny thing is I was like, all right, I could spend like 4 hours in this one place, right? Just looking to see what he has. And it's well organized. It's not like super dusty and everything. And I was talking to him. I told him I have a YouTube channel and I modify the Hot Wheels. And I showed him some pictures of the stuff that I did. And he was like, well, that's really interesting. And he asked me what time it is, because he needed to close up shop early because he needed to go to some event or something. I said, I got to leave by 12:30. I'm like, it's 12:45. So I basically ran him out of his own store and never got a chance to buy anything or get a real deep view. Now, since then, he gave me his business card. I don't know where the hell it is, okay? Because I asked him, I said, you know, do you do stuff on online? Nope, he didn't do stuff online. He gave me his business card. I don't think I threw it away. I just don't know where the hell I would have put it. And I can't find his store. Like if you do, I use Google Maps a lot. So I'll go over an area and say, okay, in this area, did I just talk myself into finding it? Hold on. This is starting to look like where I would have put it. I start going over that area and say, hey, is there any die-cast areas? And his place doesn't come up. So I found it. Holy fuck. Thank you, Lee. It's your fault. This guy right here, Don Holtzapple. He doesn't even have a aisle E, booth 45, 47, and 49. So I guess he's got 3 booths worth. I'm going to give him a call and make sure he's open before I go all the way down there. And but he has a really big store, and I'll film it. And there's a couple other people that have lots of stuff, but a lot of people like try and sell these things for like $8. I'm like, I'm not buying something for $8. You know? I mean, I'm spending a lot more time with it. I mean, I could, but you know, you got to set parameters for yourself, and the next thing you know, you're making bad choices. And I don't know what I'm even looking for. But, because there's nothing I need, fortunately, but I think I'm going to go. So, but I was like, hey, I could, you know, promote you on my, you know, and I say that to people. I don't want them to pay me. I don't want them to, you know, give me free shit. I'm just like, look, I remember when there was hobby stores in Florida and things like that. And if you don't get people to know that there's stuff like that, these places are going to go out of business. And there's very few like brick and mortar stores that have anything I'm even remotely interested in. So, you know, you got to take care of each other, kind of thing. Okay, gonna go watch, replay Night All. Okay. All right, man. That should be on Saturday. We'll see how it goes. Night All, you're the only one here. I got on here as soon as I could, but, you know, the whole UK, US time change thing is a problem. So we're just going to give this another coat of the white. We didn't coat this in white originally because we needed to prime it. We needed to clear coat it. Otherwise it would have. We needed to clear coat the black so that the white I painted over the black would stick. So these areas that are here, like the fenders, they used to be black. And it just kind of looks stupid, you know, like that's a kind of a trend they do a lot on these SUVs now, is they put that black plastic around the wheel wells. And the problem with it is, well, the black plastering itself doesn't really look that bad. The problem is it makes it look like you have a huge freaking gap between the tire and the wheel well. But this is a vehicle called the Jeepster. It was never made. It was an experimental. It was an experimental vehicle, and it was an experimental vehicle that I'll read it. I can't memorize it. I only read it one time. Jeepster Hot Wheels. Concept. It's a concept. Okay, it is a 1998 Jeepster. Was a concept vehicle created to make a crossover with the off-road capability of a Jeep with the interior of a sports car. Jeep wanted to be as fun to drive as it was functional. It had the same 4.7 liter 16 valve V8 engine of the 1999 Jeep Grand Cherokee. The vehicle could be lowered to 5 3/4 from the ground and raised to 9 3/4 inches from the ground with a flip of a console switch. So 4 inches. Ooh, concept vehicle. And apparently they made it in a lot of different versions, different Hot Wheels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15 different ones. This one happens to be the Clover Car series. And all I did was I painted it's etched into the plastic that it has like this frame for the windows. I just painted it white, to match the color of the body. So it's going to be all dirty and weathered and shit like that, Not all beat up, but, weathered definitely. What time is it? I should give that guy a call. Hold on one second. I'm going to put this guy on hold. I'm going to call this guy, make sure he's open on Saturday. Just 1 second. Well, I'm sure as hell glad I called him. He picked up. He's not going to be there on Saturday, so I would have driven there in vain. But he's actually open on Sunday, which I did not know they opened on Sunday, so I'll see him on Sunday then. Sunday's actually, in some ways, better for me. So, that's what we'll do. So he's older gentleman, you know. So I'm glad he picked up the phone but he has no web presence or a lot of that stuff is. You think, oh, old people don't want to mess with web stuff. Like, look, I got some web things, and you could pay me PayPal if you wanted to. I mean, I know how to use all that stuff, but I'm not like a genius. Now, I don't want to get into doing Patreon or stuff like that. That's just too much drama for me, But so I remember way back when the first time I went to Historicon, there was a vendor there, and they had a business. They had a legitimate business, I guess. He had business cards and everything. This was 2006. I think 2006. Yeah, 2006 was the first time I went to Historicon, and this guy was selling. I even remember what the name of the company is. Colonial Connection, I believe, is the name of the company. And they were an importer. They had like museum miniatures in 15 millimeter. And what was unique about that is nobody in the States at the time had museum miniatures, and he sold them by the each. So in other words, you didn't have to buy a pack of 8 guys that were all crossbowmen in the same pose. You could buy 2 of them and 2 from something else and mix and match your DBA army, as I like to do. And he sold them by the each. That's great. But he had no online presence. I couldn't order from him. I had to pay... I think I had to pay in cash. He wouldn't take PayPal. He wouldn't take credit card or debit card. He wouldn't take cards. And if you had to mail order something, you had to like mail him a check. I'm like, there was an article I came across or a discussion on YouTube on Facebook recently. And it was like, what thing from the past could modern day people not deal with? And people would say, I don't know what they said, but something like, going to the theater and buying your tickets instead of buying it ahead of time and stuff like that. And the very first thing I thought of is send something through the mail to order something. Like, fuck that. I'm just like, I'm never doing that. It's like writing a check, put it in the mail, when are they going to pick it up? And then I wonder where they is. Did they get it yet? Did he open it? Meanwhile, you're like, not going back to that. But this guy, like, that's all he could do. So he could somehow run a business and handle the taxes, which, that's the hard part. But he couldn't, even at that point, I could take PayPal. Well, will they charge you? So fucking mark it up, Mark everything up 10%. More than covers it. They just didn't want to do it. I understand, there's things I don't want to do, but you're cutting down your customer base. I frequently go to places, I don't bring any cash with me. I just don't, I got credit cards, I have a debit card, I don't have any cash. It's a pain in the ass. Why is it a pain in the ass? Because you have all this freaking loose change. So what do you do now, okay, since there's no more pennies, and if you're one of these people that buys in cash, and you get, 23 cents back, they just give you a quarter, or you don't get the pennies, or how does that work? Because I haven't paid for cash for something in years, and don't plan on it. What do you cash people do? Of course, it's got to be in the United States, because, pennies have been illegal. They're not making them again. They're not illegal, but I'll tell you what, if I see one on the ground, I'll pick one up now. That's one stand for an infantry guy. I'm not going to run out anytime soon. I don't know what you do if they got to give you change back. And I have no plans on paying for things in cash. Now, I'm probably going to have to get some cash in case I go to some booth there at this flea market and it's closed. He told me he was open at 8. Well, I am the right person to get there at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we probably will not have a Sunday painting session. Unless I change my mind and decide not to go. Okay, so this has a coat of white on the areas that were black. Now I left the back of the bumper black. That looks like that squishy part. that it's going to be black and it's going to be trimmed in silver or metallic. That's how it's going to go. All right, we'll leave Mr. Jeepster alone. Now, this is the roll cage for the Jeepster, and it should fit right in here. It's going to need to be primed. Well, it doesn't quite fit in like that. It fits in sort of like that, just to make it look like there's a roll cage there. Even though, oh yeah, this is a buggy. We're calling this a buggy vehicle. So, a buggy with a wood chipper. Okay. All right, back to this guy. So, try out Bacchus miniatures. Yeah, I'm trying to knock out some of this stuff. Not that I don't want to play with you. There'll be time to play on the weekend. I want to get this thing done. So, because I'm a fan of AI for what I use AI for. I don't use it for making fake fucking videos. I don't use it to fool people. Okay? That's the problem with AI. If you're using it to fool people or obfuscate stuff, you're evil. Okay? I don't use it for that. But I was considering, this is made out of wood and it has wood grain. I was considering painting the back of this out of wood. So I figured, I took a picture of this and told it, hey, change Gaslands armored truck build. Here we go. So I sent this picture and it like sent all kinds of stuff. I sent it this picture and immediately started rattling off a bunch of things like it always does. Oh, that's a really cool Gaslands type armored truck build. Here's some observations and ideas that might help you. I don't care about that, right? So you finally get through all that nonsense. And I basically said, change the color of the rear box to brown to make it a natural wood. And look what it did. So it painted it brown, but it also went down on the sides as well. So I'm like, that's going to be a problem. I said, change the area on the side of the truck underneath the box back to green. It should not be brown. And then bam, this is what it did. So now I have a pretty good idea what it could look like, right? I mean, obviously I'm going to paint wood grain on it and stuff like that. But there's these plates that are here that I added on them that are going to be armored plates. See if I can make it out a little bit better. That's going to be an armored plate. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to repaint these plates with the vision slot and the little vision slot back here in black. So it's going to get the same treatment that the mesh is, and then we'll put iron and then that kind of thing. And then the rest of it that's actually wooden, because it is made of wood, we're going to paint it like it's made of wood. And then, the reasoning is if they made it out of metal, it'd be too heavy, and then this thing wouldn't be able to travel faster. That's my backstory. And besides, this has kind of a turtle theme. No, it's not Ninja Turtle anything. And having something that's quote-unquote the shell be a different color kind of makes sense. And it looks better than just all this. So, that's what we're going to do. We're going to start off with doing the brown. Let's get a fresh palette here. And we're going to paint it like it's made of wood. So we're going to go, we're probably going to, you know me, I'm going to custom mix everything. I don't use triad stuff. There's nothing wrong with using triad. I just have to undo the way I've always done things. So we're going to put some black here. And I'm going to use craft paint. I could. It's got too much red in it. No, we don't want one that has any red. Let's use Flat Earth. And now that we can find all our brushes, we can go and grab one that's just the right size that we want. Actually, used this the other day and I cleaned it with hand sanitizer. I actually tried to play a little bit of the Bulge game. I think it was like the following morning after we played. Game's no fun to play by yourself. It's no fun. Now, I did have a couple things that happened that I was not expecting. So I come in and I'm like, all right, well, who am I going to play in Battle of the Bulge? Well, the fucking Germans, right? Because I'm guaranteed to have tanks. You know, a Panther or something like that. So I go and I start this battle, and I'm like, Tiger, Panzer IV. All right, let me get into the Panzer IV. And before I get into Panzer IV, the computer selected the Panzer IV, and I'm standing on the outside, and it drives out from under me, and I can't get in it. I'm like, geez, give me a second. I didn't take that long to select it. It's like, man, why are you hurrying me, pal? Oh, of course. Like, geez, what's the hurry? But I don't enjoy playing this game solitaire. Just like, and it's not that particular game solitaire. It's any game solitaire. You know, it's like cool stuff could happen and there's nobody around. All right. Yeah, we got... This craft paint is a pain in the ass when it comes to opening it. You can be careful and you still get shit all over you. Alright. Let's make sure this is watered down enough so it doesn't take a week to cover this. When you talk about like warships and stuff like that, I've seen people like that have made really ignorant comments on some of like the warship sites. The reason why I'm bringing it up now is because what I'm going to get to. I can't tell you how many times you'll post a picture of a battleship, and somebody will comment, some clueless wonder will comment, well, battleships aren't used anymore because it's pretty stupid to put wood on the top of a steel ship. Like they're thinking like there's no steel underneath a wooden deck, right? The wooden deck is only for decor and anti-slippage. I mean, it's still slippery, but it's less slippery than a steel deck. But there's people out there that think that, you know, a battleship with 15-inch armor, 15-inch belt armor, has, you know, 2x4s for I mean, wow. Man, I'm really glad I called that guy, or I would have ended up showing up there on Saturday and we're closed. I mean, there's other stores, but that's the one I want to go to. It's a weekend place only, you know? Like, it's a side gig for people. You know, if you got a booth there, it's like, that's your side gig. Yeah, this is what we want, and the part that's green in the middle is going to be iron colored, or steel, and I might put some green paint on it. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, it's not that fun by yourself. I had some good battles, but not as fun. Yep. Well, it's not educational. We don't get to talk about real stuff. Wow. So, but you know, still, it's just. It's still relatively challenging. So, the last convention I went to, I stopped in September. I stopped by this. I ran into a guy at. I wanted to stop by. I think it was a Target. It was Target or Walmart. I think it was a Target. On the way there to look for die-cast cars, and I ran into another guy who was also another adult looking at die-cast cars, and I was talking to him for a while. You know, that I repainted him. I showed him pictures. He said, "Oh, that's really cool." He said, "You need to go by the flea market in Mount Dora," which is kind of on the way back for Orlando. If I take a long way back, right? It's not the shortest route, but it like makes sense from the convention. And I'm like, all right, I'll plan on going there on Saturday because this was on Friday morning. I said I'm only going to be there for one night, and then I'll stop by this flea market. This particular flea market is huge. They had 3 or 4 die-cast vendors, including this guy who I got his card, and I'm like, I showed him the stuff I was doing. It's like, man, I got to look in. I mean, he literally has everything there. Now, some things are just not priced to entice me. That's probably the correct way to say it. I need to be enticed by the price, right? I don't want to buy a $10 anything. It's not enticing. And I'm like, man, I'm going to be here a while. It's like, well, take your time, but I got to leave at 12:30 for something. I got there in the morning, I said I gotta leave like at 12:30 before for an event, and I'm like, that's like in 10 minutes. And he's like, oh shit. So he literally, I told him the time, and I fucked myself because he closed the shop down. So, and he has all new stuff, and it's not that I don't want something used, but when things are on cards and it's all organized, like, all right, we got our police vehicles over here, and we got our Christmas vehicles over here. It's easier to look for stuff instead of rummaging through a pile. There's a time and place for everything. So, I don't even know what I'd be looking for. I'm just kind of going there to hang out. I didn't get a chance to look at his booth. It is a couple hours away, but it's like there's other booths there too, and I'm like, guys, sometimes you feel like a road trip. I'm waiting for gas to be $5 a gallon to do this, by the way. Our truck's got gas today. It was almost $5.50 for diesel. I mean, that's the problem, is the diesel. Not unleaded. You can control how much you drive. You can decide not to go everything, but the diesel, whatever you buy at the store is going to be marked up, even though they haven't used the gas, even though they haven't purchased the gas that is going up in price. Everybody raises the price of gasoline just because it knows it's coming up. And diesel is stuck in every single thing you buy. So unless you're not buying something. But anyways, enough of that. Yeah, it's gone up like 25%. So. I'm probably better off, instead of just being kind of careful, I'm better off just painting over this. Because I'm going to paint over it again. So anyways, it's a big flea market. I'll try to take a video of the place. It's a booth, but his is more like a store. There's all kinds of stuff. Some places have like air conditioning, and some places are like, a basket full of berries and that kind of stuff. It just depends what it is. I mean, it's covered. He's got a door and everything, but let's go all the way up to the edge here. Make sure that we get underneath there. But anyways, I was early this show. I was like, I got his card somewhere. You can't go on Google Map. Like, I know where his booth is physically, and he's got no pin drop or anything on Google Maps. He doesn't have anything on the web. And I'm like, I know I got his business card, and I found it. I found it. I went ahead and called him, and I'm like, hey, I was the guy that shut you down last. He's an older guy, so he doesn't remember. But that's pretty memorable. Like, I made you close your damn store down, unless it happens all the time. It's like, I just want to make sure you're going to be open on Saturday. He's like, no, I got to kid's birthday party I have to go to last minute. I said, well, I'm glad I called you because I would have been pissed. I said, but I'm open Sunday. I'm like, I didn't even know that you were open on Sunday. I said, Sunday will work. Hopefully he doesn't do something inconsiderate like, fucking die on me or something. I'm kidding, of course. All right. I think I'm going to stay with this big brush, at least for the next color. But, it's his hobby. He probably goes there and talks to people, Gets him out of the house so he doesn't have to do honey-do list stuff. I have some neighbors, and I've had some neighbors that it's awfully suspect. They're always out on the yard working on everything. It's probably like an excuse to not do laundry or some shit. Like, I'd rather do fucking laundry than mow the lawn, Like, I've always done yard work, except at this house, because there's just too much property. It would just take too long. But I hate doing yard work. Like, you do the best job in a week, it's fucked. Mother Nature works full time. They're just like, let's just have a grow back. Be like if you paint these cool cars and a week later they're unpainted. Like, fuck you, When your brother lived in town, we used to go to flea market hopping. There's 3 around town that used to be good. I don't know about now. Well, the secret of going to a flea market is make sure you're not in the market for anything. Because if you're looking for stuff and you don't find it, it's frustrating. But if you're just seeing what finds you, it's always a win. That flea market was the one where I got the Focus car. Laser Focus. It was somebody who was selling it for $1. A different vendor, literally had I picked up some cars there for 25 cents. But, you had to dig through shit. And I'm not opposed to digging through things. It's just, it takes time. And I hate to sound like I'm really old, but if you do that in the wrong posture, you're going to be hurting the next day. So we'll go there. We'll probably go to Vintage Toy King as well. Not that I need anything from that. That's the place that the cars come in baggies. That's the guy that has the Godzilla stuff. His store is so organized. It's like Zen. It's an experience going in there. For having all kinds of different stuff and toys, it is really well organized. All right, I'm going to have to let this dry a little bit because it's a little too wet. Now, how's the little Mick-mobile over here? I think it's dry enough to give it a wash. If I fuck it up, I'll just repaint it again. Yeah, I had one guy who used to live next to me. He's a cop. That motherfucker wouldn't mow the lawn until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Which, by the way, is the wrong time to mow the lawn. It's hot as hell. He was always out there working on his yard. I think because he didn't want to deal with his bitchy wife. And the only reason I suspected, because she was bitchy. She was like, man, your wife's pretty cool, I wouldn't have said that about him. Like, my wife's cool. She she ain't bitchy. I'm the bitchy one. I mean, I don't bitch to her. I mean, I do. I bitch to her about work and stuff, I don't bitch to her about stuff around here. Make sure I'm clear about that. Okay, just a little bit of a wash on here. This is going to be muddied and stuff like that. It already has it on the other white stuff, on the actual body that was white. People say, man, my girlfriend or whatever is real bitchy. I said, well, you could find another girlfriend. I mean, unless you're into that. I get paid for dealing with problems. I don't want to deal with problems for free. Maybe this doesn't have a clear coat on it. I mean, it doesn't have a wash on it. Let's just give this a light modulation, so to speak. It drives me crazy is you find some paint company that you like, because they got the right colors. Then they go when they pull a Games Workshop. Well, now we make these paints anymore. The ones we used to make are obsolescent. And I'm like, yeah, you wanted to get people, you found out you have a limited amount of customers, and you get more money out of them, so you're redesigning everything. Well, I ain't falling for that shit. The old paints I have work just fine. And I think everybody does that. That's the whole Flames of War mentality, Games Workshop mentality, whatever. Oh, here's our new and improved colors. There's nothing wrong with the old ones. Why are you reinventing shit? Alright, now we're going to go ahead, while that continues drying, I'm going to go ahead and paint these iron pieces in black. And it should look better because you won't have so many colors screaming at you. Even though we're not going to leave it in black. Yeah, I gotta be enticed to buy shit. I got pretty good self-control. There's a store that a friend of mine always goes to, or he's mentioned it several times, and always finds good deal. It's a place oddly called Ollie's Basement. I'm not going to say why that's oddly called that. So I finally walked into one, right? And it's basically like a overstock store, right? And first of all, at least the one in our town, it's over on the side of town, right? But I go in there and I'm like, all right, there's not going to be a crime scene happening while this is here. People seem pretty okay. It's a little disorganized or whatever, but the prices just weren't there. The prices weren't like it's not enticing. Like it's not enticing prices. You know, it's like I don't frequently go clothes shopping, but when I do, I'm going to a place that, yeah, it's like a Big Lots, exactly. It's a Big Lots. And and yeah, I need to be, I don't pay full price for stuff unless I mean, if I gotta have something, I gotta have something, right? But you try to find yourself in that doesn't happen, you know. So then it becomes like, well, I'm not leaving that for somebody else for that price. We're talking single digits, like less than $10 kind of stuff. I try not to buy just shit just to buy it, but like, okay, this is useful. And this is normally a $12 item, and they're selling it for $3. That kind of stuff. Like, all right, that's enticing, and it's something that I could use. You know. Yeah, I never set foot in one until I think it was just before Christmas. We had a Big Lots, and it was a little creepy. It was a little crime scene-y. One of those places where like the parents screaming at their kids and the kid ain't listening. Okay, now it looks a little bit less of an eyesore. Yeah, AI was handy for that. I'm like, because sometimes you're like, well, I wonder if this color is going to look good next to this other color. And that allows you to do it. Like I said, I don't have a problem with AI as long as you're not using to be a liar about stuff, How do you say the name of that store? Is it Lidl? Lidl, 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 Lidl. Lidl, 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 Lidl. 2 towns over, that is demonic. Is Lidl like a cheaper Aldi's? I want to say they had one in Spain. I didn't go in. The Aldi's in Spain was phenomenal. The Aldi's here in the States, they have good chocolate, Actually, I can't go in there. I don't even like chocolate, and if I go to Aldi's, I end up getting the chocolate bars that have like the pretzels in them. That's one serving, dude. Hello! I mean literally demonic. It feels soulless and unnerving. A bit Oh, Christ. What does that even mean? Who? Liminal. Liminal. Describes a transitional state, phase, or condition of being in between, no longer in the old, but not yet in the new. Yeah, I know what you mean by that. I just wouldn't have called it that because I don't know what the fuck that word is. Sorry. My friend. See, that's what happens when you don't. When they assign you. You need to read Oliver Twist in school. I'm not reading that poppycock. My friend goes to that branch, and the meat always spoils a day or two quicker than usual. Ooh. Lidl has a fresh bakery usually, but fewer name brands. Okay. Hey, we're here to educate. And I don't mind being educated. Liminal. Space. Okay, and then we're going to do images. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. Walmart's that way. Walmart before, the big C had everything stocked. Still had Walmartians in there. The Walmartians didn't exist when old Sam Walton was around. But they just went to Kmart or Pick and Save or whatever instead. And those places closed down, so they all come to Walmart. But before the big C, everything was stocked. And now you go in there and be like whole rows with nothing in them. And we're transitioning, but well, they wouldn't tell you that because then an employee would have to talk to you, and they keep a low profile too. It's like a land of shame. Like you go into Walmart, you don't say anything to anybody, you don't want to see anybody. Everybody else is kind of the same thing. I asked one guy, excuse me, to get out of the way. He was just on his phone, like in another planet. He was phasing at that time. Walmart has shit food. Yeah. Yeah, like buying stuff at the deli at Walmart. No. I mean, there's things that I'm particular about. I'm particular about food. Like I was talking to a coworker, and they were talking about Dairy Queen, and I never go to Dairy Queen. But if I did, it wouldn't be for like a fucking hamburger. Having a meat thing at a dairy place is just weird. It's like going to a steakhouse and ordering fried chicken. It's just like, it's just one of these things, not like the other. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, Walmart have like empty shelves of that. I don't like that feeling. Yeah, it's like, did we lose a fucking war? Yeah, probably all the fucking time. All right, I think that's dry enough. So we're going to go in and do the wrought iron color, whatever the F it's called. I like to call it tin bits, although it's not called tin bits anymore. What does War Master call it? Rough iron. Okay. I don't like to shop at Walmart, but we go and get things at Walmart that we normally would get at our grocery store here that is a monopoly. And it's just the prices are out of control. So I try not to go there. Because they don't have any competition. It's not that the store sucks. But, it's the place where Mitch works. It just doesn't in that one. He even says he works there. He doesn't shop there. I felt the same way that liminal. How do you even say that? Liminal. Liminal was the same. The first time I walked into a Rural King. I walked into a Rural King and I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? You get transported somewhere else, like 1947 Arizona. That was this burger place in town that everybody freaking loved. And it was like an old school burger place, and it sucked. They gave you a nasty looking fucking burger that wasn't very good. And the place closed down. And, But anyways, I went there, and it was like, it took you to a different time. You're like, 1947 Arizona. Or at least what I imagine 1947 Arizona looks like. So we're going to put this rough iron over it, and we're going to paint over this. But if any of this shows, we want to, this is, slightly rusty type of color. Slightly Rustafarian. Lidl. It's German, isn't it? Is Aldi German too? That Lidl and Aldi, is that like Adidas and Puma? Two brothers that fought over. You guys know that story, right? Adidas and Puma is like two brothers that like got into it, or at least that's what I remember. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna put you out of business. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put you out of business." And they have like competition. Right now, we're working on our truck. That's the two double turreted trucks. Going to look like this. And this is all going to be painted like it's wood in the back. Wooden armor. Like, well, that's stupid. I said, well, it would have too many armor points if it would weigh too much if it wasn't that way. I need to make this out of something, and it made sense to make it out of wood, which I have lots of. And then we'll just paint it like it's wood. We got the stuff on the block, we're going to have chrome and stuff on the... It's a 57 Chevy. In a custom color that... Marty had a truck that was this color. It wasn't exactly this model. He had a 61, and kind of unique about a 61 is, I had never seen this before, is it had like these headlights above the headlights. Almost like... It's the weirdest looking thing. But he said he couldn't find one. I think I can find one, but they're like an off-brand, and they're like really expensive, like $40 or $50 for something like this. Both are German. Little. Oh, because it's not Lidl, it's little. 37 degrees. It's hot out. Don't stop. It got into the 90s the other day. Fucking dickhead weather. But you know what? That's okay, because at least it's not dark at 5 o'clock. Yeah, it's for Gaslands. Yeah. This is going to be, what do you call this? Twin-turreted terrapin. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be there. How are we doing on this? And this is the Mick wagon here. That's not what it's called. This is actually Murphy's lawnmower. This is my St. Patrick's Day thing. I was looking today for art just for my St. Patrick's Day edition. Just so you know, so you guys can have a, so it'd be eye-catching thing. It's family friendly, Why is she wearing a green G-string? Shut up and enjoy the view. Oh, man. They got that one, what's the name of that channel? One of you guys was suggesting it to me. I forget who it was, if it was somebody who used to watch this channel or watches it now. But there's a wargaming channel that has some redhead in it from Ireland, or an Irish sounding redhead, and she's pretty cute. I mean, she doesn't look like a gamer. She looks like a normal person out in the wild. I live in a college town, or used to, so that's a normal looking person, attractive. Hey, that would just be annoying to be, be in the games and all those nerd burglars would be all over you. I think she's the painter. Yeah, that would annoy me. I'm glad I'm the one that fucking paints here. I don't want to be like, you should have painted a little bit. Fuck you, woman, go away. She doesn't mess. It'd be like me messing with her cooking. Hey, I think you should have fried that. Nope, that's her land. That's her land. I don't mess with the cooking stuff. And she's great at it, too. But she also doesn't have to cook. And I'm like, I can assemble stuff. Like, I lived alone 11 years. And she's like, well, I need to eat something, too. I said, well, I can assemble you a salad or a sandwich or something. I can paint you a sandwich. Let me get some tea. Oh, man. St. Patrick's Day is on a damn Tuesday, though. St. Patrick's Day is like a holiday that I never celebrate. And I want to, but it's like I've never gotten a chance to. Well, it's overrated. I said, well, I'd like to at least do it, you know. I mean, I don't want to get trash, but, you know. I mean, hell, I like wearing green. I don't have anything against the Irish, as long as they're not the ones driving on that day. Woo! You know. Oh, this is way too bright. It's way too bright. Let's do Iron Warriors. Clear sun. Well, it's clear sun. That's good. Yeah, this time change. Thank goodness it happened, because it's exhausting. All right, this is the base color of the metallics all around. So we're going to go ahead and do the bumpers and all this kind of stuff. Even though we're going to make it brighter, we add some depth to it. We use this brush. Use the super readers, they are. All right. All this is chromish. So we're going to start off with putting this darker metallic color on. Justin, I know you don't do Gaslands, but if you did Gaslands, what is the first real life vehicle? You know, it can't be a make-believe vehicle, like a real, you know, I'm going to say Ford Mustang. I'm not saying pick that one, but you know, what real life vehicle would you convert into your first car? Or what's a car in real life that you would convert into a Gaslands vehicle? I know you don't do it, and it's okay that you don't do it. I'm just, you know. This is pretty dark, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna go over it. I can make a case for buying one metal color, and just tint it as you needed it. Yeah, I could make a case for doing like a bright silver and use that for everything. But I want it dark. Okay, we'll mix some black with it. Oh, I want it kind of rusty. I can mix a little bit of this with it. You know, I could see a case being made for that. Screen froze. Say it again. God bless it. Well, before I forget that, I want to make sure if I get if Ben is still here. Ben, in your part of the UK, what is like the most common vehicle that you see? Because like when I went to London, well, there's a lot of like, was it Kia? It was Kia or Hyundai electric vehicles all over the place, and there was a shitload of Toyotas. What do they have in your part of England running around? No sound? I didn't say anything. It's still on. I will turn it off. And now we'll turn it back on. Does that make a difference? Your sound froze the one time I have something to say to you. It's a conspiracy. Ben, what's a common vehicle they have up there? Like a brand and like model. in Britain, in your part of Britain. I'm sure it's very different than London. Just like I'm nothing like New York. As a matter of fact, I'd rather live in London than New York. Sorry, Marcus. There's a decent mix. Getting more electric cars, more. That's not helpful. There's no British brands anymore, right? They're like gone. So who's taking over? The bloody Germans? I drove a German vehicle recently, and it was a German vehicle that is sought after by many people. It's a BMW, and I was not impressed. I'm not a fan of German vehicles. They might look okay, but you get inside of them and shit's in the wrong place. You know. Vauxhall Corsas. Okay, let's find out what those look like. Yeah, this liminal thing is depressing. Vauxhall. That's a GM product, isn't it? Or it's a GM family. Corsa. It's a pretty decent looking vehicle. A popular British super mini. Do they come in stick? Like, this thing looks pretty good. Even this looks pretty good. Vauxhall Corsa. Now Opel Corsa. Did Opel consume Vauxhall? See, the symbol that Opel has, that's what the electric vehicle should have. That little lightning bolt. Notice how notice how they were sneaky. They put the little lightning bolt, not vertical, they put it horizontal. And they only put one lightning bolt. I noticed! Hey, why does this German manufacturer have two lightning bolts on the symbol? We will not sell this vehicle to your kind. What are you talking about? You don't want to know. Let's see what we got here. I know, the Middle Easterns over there, Middle Eastern people over there smuggling something inside Hot Wheels. And you know the real thing that pisses me off, Ben? This dickhead didn't take that sticker off. What an asshole. Like, you've bought this item, take the frickin' UPC sticker off. Okay, here's what doesn't make any sense. You ready for this? You sure this is an AI? Look at this cup. McDonald's. Why is the arches backwards? Oh, I know! It's in Australia! Back now. You had to reboot your computer? So my question I had is, I know, Justin, that you don't do Gasland stuff. But if you did, I'm not saying you need to. I'm just curious. What vehicle would be the first thing you're like, I'm going to do this vehicle because I think it'd be cool. And just like, what I mean is like, like a Mustang or something like that. Is there something that sticks out in your mind? You'd be like, yeah, that'd be a cool vehicle. No fair. They got McDonald's in Australia. It's one of those, what's wrong with this picture? And it's got the little Chevrolet letters in the back. We're going to do those in white like the real vehicle has them. And, we're only doing this dark metallic color because, we're going to shine it up in certain places just to add some depth to it. Not that we're going to leave it in that color. You might leave the wheels in this color. McDonald's is the name they can include in anime without breaking copyright laws, but then McDonald's did a promotion with it a few years ago. Huh. I had no idea. There's a show that we're watching. I won't tell you what the name of it is. It's kind of irrelevant. It's not an adult show. It's a sitcom that the wife and I have been watching, and the daughter comes in and watches it sometimes too when she's up, and it can be really funny. And it struck me as all the product placement is like real product. I'm like, oh my god, there's a 7-Up there. There's a whatever. They're like real products. And it's unusual. It's unusual to see that. Usually it's got to be, well, we got to make up some make-believe brand. Like, everybody knows what it is, but it's like something else, I'd be between a Jeep Rubicon or a Tacoma pickup. A Jeep Rubicon as opposed to a Sahara. Or the other, there's a ton of different variants of the Jeeps. That's the only one I can think of right now. But they have like a shitload of them. And they're all unaffordable as far as I'm concerned. Well, you gotta buy that suspension. And, I don't need it. It looks cool, but I've never driven it. I've never driven a Jeep stick shift because I don't have one. And I rented them, and they don't rent stick shift vehicles here in the United States because, people can't drive them here because, Americans are stupid. Yeah, I said it. They're stupid about that, that's for sure. Well, I can't do my nails. Look, I can have a drink and eat a sandwich and still drive a stick shift. Done it. Oh, shit. All right. What did we touch? All right. Damage control. Neener, neener, neener. All right, let's get this metal off this. It's not a big deal. It's just annoying. You have to stop and fix this. It's coming off. I'll tell you a weird one that is semi-common here. Suzuki Jiminy's, but a lot of the farmers have Land Rovers. The idea of a farmer with a Land Rover seems really odd. Well, Land Rovers are really expensive here. And I also heard they're all made in India. I don't know whether that's true or not. But remember Suzuki Samurais? Yeah, those are a cool vehicle until you get in a wrecking one. And there's nothing left. Well, I wanted to go and dry brush Suzuki Jimny. I want to say that looks like Geo. Remember that little like hybrid? Wasn't a hybrid, but that little half-ass little vehicle that Geo used to do. Remember, Geo was that spin-off of GM. They had the Geo Metro, and then they had like a really small SUV. Oh, they're old Land Rovers. 85 two-door Cutlass. Okay, 85 Cutlass two-door. I got one of those. Yep. Or something just like that. That's one of the brothers' mobile. It's going to be called that Black Mamba or something like that. I've got one. Yep. Absolutely. That's definitely a good Gaslands vehicle right there. Yep. Man, this 68 looks sexy. And I'm not a, I don't want a fucking offer. There we go. I'm not a muscle car person, but that looks pretty damn good. I'm not a muscle car person because they just don't handle worth a shit. That looks fucking cool. And I actually made the mistake of looking how much. I wonder how much, these gas guzzlers get per gallon. Wow. I'm not a fan of things being illegal, but if I was going to make things illegal, I might start there. That's horrible. That's like diesel truck type gas mileage. It's like, wow. No wonder you have a 50-gallon tank. It was like really low double digits. Like 12 or something like that. I'm like, what the hell? Like, whoa. That's crazy. You knew someone who bought an old muscle car and had no idea how to drive and almost killed themselves in a wreck they caused. Yeah, okay, there's fucking paint all over this cocksucker. you bastard. Yeah, on a wet surface. The only rear drive vehicle I've had was the Xterra. And I knew it was rear drive. And I knew it was top heavy. And when it rained, I was careful. Because, I liked that vehicle, but it didn't have a whole lot of ass. But you could see in front of the person that was in front of you. I love that. So you can keep an eye on that guy. If that guy hit the brakes, then I hit the brakes. I wouldn't wait for jackalope in front of me to be surfing on their phone and, wait. Well, people didn't have phones you could look at that time. But anyhow, yeah, the car with no air conditioning. That was a problem for that car. That's the one car I bought that's used. I don't know if I want to buy another used car. People just don't take care of vehicles. Like, oh, you got to change the oil? Not if you don't want to buy a new vehicle. Yeah, you got to change the oil, jackass. Let's try this one that isn't. It's the same paint, right? It's Iron Warriors. Yeah, it's just not. That one's got crud all over it. We'll have to wait for it to dry and clean it out. Yeah, those things are all over the place. You can learn a lot by playing video games. If you play a car in a video game and you're like, man, I can't keep this thing on the road, you probably don't need to get the real car. That might be a hint. But a lot of the cars in the 60s, late 60s, look really good. And there's just keeps being metallic paint. God bless it. All right, we just want a thin coat over this. And a thin coat over this. It's unusual. That kind of stuff never happens. I'm not used to those kind of errors. I make different errors. I was last year. I was in Jacksonville. I was visiting my brother, and we were going somewhere. I forget where it was, a restaurant or something. We'd split up in two cars, and this one guy was ahead of us, and he was in I'm gonna say a Mustang. It might have been a Camaro, and he went to go make a right-hand turn, and he gunned it, and he did a series of and it was like on a split road. So in other words, we're on a road, this is all paved and everything, and paved and new paved. So not like in bad shape or anything. And this road he was turning on was one of those ones that has 2 lanes going one way, 2 lanes the other way, and there's like a center divider of, just like a curb, right, with maybe some green space on it or whatever. And this guy was going to make a right-hand turn, and he gunned it in this rear-wheel drive muscle car, modern muscle car. And he did a series of S-turns and even went on to oncoming traffic. I don't know how he didn't get hit, but he's lucky. I don't have anything to do with that. I don't have anything to do with that. Nope. No. I do that in my car, I would have held. So, yeah, handling is number one. If you're not handling it, you're going too fast. So I don't understand these drifters. Oh man, watch me drift. You're going too fast for the turn, dude. I don't see how that's satisfying. To look at that, it's satisfying. It's basically a controlled crash. Okay. I forgot to do one thing. Let's open this evil bastard again. And let's get these machine guns, these heavy machine guns that are on here. Oh, damn spot. Yeah, people don't change their oil and stuff. And other maintenance. Oh, so they did cause the wreck, and they almost killed themselves. So a wreck was caused and it almost killed them. Well, what's bad is when somebody does something stupid, and the person that does something stupid lives, and other people die. They don't have anything to do with it. Like that. That's a problem. No shit, that's a problem, Tony. No shit, that's a problem. Or the Carolina squat fuckers. Oh, it's worse than a Carolina squat is the people that dangle their fucking arm out of the car. Oh, that drives me crazy. That didn't happen. That didn't happen in the 90s. Nobody did that. Nobody did that in the 90s. Or the 80s. I don't remember anybody lazily dragging their 400-pound arm, because that must be what it is. The arm weighs so much, they can't have, and it smells like fish, so they can't have it inside of their car. It's always some redneck dude, too. Hey, I call things how they are. It's always redneck people. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying it's always redneck people. And I don't have a problem with redneck people. Just you've seen those things that they take a pickup truck and they have those gonads hanging from the truck. It's always redneck. It has that. Always. Back in the 90s when they had these big hoopty looking Impalas and they had that little crown on the dash, never a redneck. Just saying, you know. I actually liked that thing. I didn't have one, but I thought it was cute. Yeah, they were coming out of a liquor store. Not a good combination. And we're trying to show off and gunned it, lost control and went on oncoming traffic. Yeah, those type of cars just. So we're gonna have to go way back. We're gonna go way back to like 1991. I had a friend of mine. Yeah, I wasn't even legal to drink. I couldn't even drink at the time. We had gone to a concert at this one concert place, this one venue. And he had a 71 black Corvette Stingray. And, you know, it was used. I don't know that it was in that good a shape, but it gets everybody's attention, right? And he's driving. And he pulls out of this place, and he guns it like that. And he does, I just remembered this. It's been so long ago. He fishtails it. We go into the median, and the median, you know, that has the grassy stuff, has and you've seen this before, when they have like a manhole, but to keep it from flooding, they have it, in other words, basically this is the level of the ground, but the manhole sticks up maybe 4 or 5 inches. It tapers up to it. And, you know, it's a Corvette, so it's low. And he runs over that and drops, like, he fucks his entire car up doing that. And, yeah, I remember that. It's that whole fishtail thing. It's like, oh, fuck, it's too much. So then you overcorrect. And it's, oh, fuck, it's too much this way, too. It's like, nah, I don't want any of those cars, you know. I've always had front-wheel drive cars. And now that I have an all-wheel drive car, that's what I want. All-wheel drive is, like, fucking awesome. Yeah, I forgot about that. Black 71 Stingray. You stop at a stoplight, man, people will be all goo goo gaga over that car. I don't know. I'm not a muscle car fan, but if I was, there'd be other muscle cars that are more attractive than a 71 Stingray. You know, you can't carry anything in it. You know, it's like 2 seats and that's it. I guess it has back seats too, but. Hold on a second. Now I gotta look that up. 0 to 60. I love going to 0 to 60. That website. 0 to 60 times. Let me guess. Let's see. 0 to 60, 71 Stingray. I'm going to say it's going to do not less than 7 seconds. Not less than 7 seconds. I could be wrong. It's heavy. I mean, it's got a lot of horsepower, but it weighs a metric fucking ton. All right, let's go to C for Corvette. If you haven't been to this website, it's awesome. So just scroll down. Caprice, Cavalier. I had a friend of mine who had a Cavalier. He never changed the brakes on it. You know, it had little brake pads, right? The brake pad is a little, it's like a C, right? It's maybe like this big across, like this long, and it has a clip on either end that the actual brake pad fits on. The brake pad wore off, and the only thing that was braking the car was the actual top of the C, like the 2 edges, and they had cut a groove into the rotor that you could see all the way through it. Like, you gotta do maintenance on cars, dude. It's gonna get you killed, you know? Corvette. The new ones are really fast. I was looking for something and holy fuck, those are really, really fast. 71 Stingray. Well, the 70 454 is 7.0 to 60 miles an hour. So it's like right on the money. They got a million different versions of it. 71 Stingray 454 LS5, whatever the hell is. That's 5.7. 454 LS6, 5.3. I guess that's fast numbers for back then, but my little rice burner is faster than that. You know. 1978 turbine powered. Okay, that's 3.6. Yeah, that's 19. There's all kinds of interesting stuff on here. 1992 Snake Skinner Chevrolet Corvette ZR1. Yeah, the ones in the 80s are like 8 seconds, 8.2, 8.1. That's one of the few things you can do. You know, you can get up to 60 miles an hour quick. Well, assuming it's a 60 mile an hour speed zone. You know. You can drive like a maniac legally. I'm saying one of the things you can do legally. You know, get up to speed quick. Of course, if you got a car like that gets up to speed quick, one of the most annoying things is when you got somebody in front of you that has a relatively quick car and they're merging on the interstate that's 70 miles an hour. And by the time they get to the end of the ramp, long ramp, they're still only going 49. It's like, dude, man, you need to be going 70 miles an hour when you get to the end of that so you can merge safely. I don't get it. They're on cloud 9. Yeah, I'm judging people all the time when I'm driving. You know, things get too crazy. I gotta turn my radio off. I'm usually listening to like music or Audible or something like that, and it gets like people start like not paying attention. I'm like, I gotta turn that shit off, man. I didn't realize I was in sheepdog mode. You gotta keep an eye on these guys. People making wrong decisions. You come up to a traffic light, right? And this happens to me like every morning. You come up to a traffic light that you stop, and I'm coming up on it, and I see this crowd of cars. And in the right-hand lane, there's 2 vehicles. And in the left-hand lane, and keep in mind where this is, there's a third left-hand turn lane. So you have a left-hand turn lane, a left lane, and a right lane. The right lane has 2 cars in it. The left-hand lane has about 12 cars in it. There is no fucking reason, other than being on cloud fucking 9, why you would have that many cars in the left-hand lane. There's nothing coming up. It's not like, okay, everybody's turning into the school or something. People just aren't paying the fuck attention. Ever. So I'm like, I'm constantly, and I'm terrified of my daughter driving. Not because she's an idiot, but there's idiots all around. You know, I even hit the fuck up. Almost always. Now, if the car in the right-hand lane is like a garbage truck, okay. But normal car in the right-hand lane, and there's 2 there, and there's 12 in the left. Every morning it happens. Like, you guys have your head up your ass. And it has nothing to do with being in a hurry. It's just like, you know, how do these people sleep at night? Yeah. Constantly. I'll be like, you know, I was like, the other day, I was like, I don't know, what was I doing? I was driving to work, or driving back from work, and I was like listening to Rush or something I was listening to on the playlist. I'm like, I gotta turn this shit off. I gotta pay attention to these guys. You know? Sometimes you feel yourself like, I need to pay a little bit more attention, extra attention for these guys, you know? We'll put some lighter metallic stuff here. And then we're going to start hitting the wood. Yeah, people aren't paying attention, and cars are just too fucking expensive. They're too expensive to go have a wreck and like, all that insurance. I think there's a lot of people out there without insurance. I can't afford to get hit by one of them. I can't afford to get hit by somebody with insurance, regardless of whose fault it is. Shit's too fucking expensive. And if you like the car you have, you better keep it, because man, there's not like huge availability of vehicles anymore. Them days are over. The big C got rid of that. All right, so this is basically what it's going to look like. Obviously, we're going to need to do more tinkering with the wooden color. I'm going to go take a pee break. I'll go wash my hands, and I'll be right back. I'm not even going to put the phone on. I'm not even going to mute the mic. Be right back. A month ago, it'd be pitch fucking black out there at 7:30, and it's probably not going to get dark for another 45 minutes. Yeah, we got some school bus drivers that are fucking crazy. So I live on a road that feeds into a school. It feeds into a high school, or the high school is on this road. When I go to work in the morning, I don't know when the fuck those kids go to school. They must start at 9, because I've never run into them in the morning, right? I guess kids go to school for about like 3 hours and 15 minutes each day. I swear I was in school a long ass time. We didn't have no half day Wednesdays or something like that. That's like a newfangled thing. I don't know when they started that, but not when I was in school. And I frequently, when I leave work, I frequently run into an empty school bus going back to the depot at the high school, right? And this little Barney Fife cop speed trap town, you need to be going 45 miles an hour or they're going to give you a ticket, right? It's known. It's known for that. And this bus just barrels through there, going 57 or whatever. And the problem with it is that I don't want to get behind them, because when they come up to this road, they're not allowed to turn right on red, right? Which basically means you could be waiting a while. So and you can't get ahead of them because they're just driving like a maniac. So I think one of these days I'm going to fucking report them. But I'll be a Karen for the day. That guy's driving like he's driving like 58 fucking miles an hour, like right up on people's ass. Just to get in front of people to stop, and they have to wait. Oh well. I'll leave him alone. He's getting paid like a bus driver anyway, so joke's on him. But, hopefully he's only driving that way when he's empty, not with kids. All right, now the Woody stuff. we need more contrast than that. We're not going to be able to see it. Let's do something I don't normally do. Helping hands! That's what this fucking thing's called. We'll find out if it's really helping or hurting. It's actually pretty useful. The bad thing about it is it's all held together by magic. And what I mean by that is it untightens real easily. Actually, I probably could just grab it on one. It's that. Yeah, I don't think I can. How about I grab it like that and I just put that one underneath it just to kind of hold it. We're good? C'est bon? Okay. And now it's too tall for me, so I gotta jack my seat up. This actually might not be comfortable. I might still not be able to do it, but I figured, we'll use this little helping hands thing. The first Gaslands vehicles I used this helping hands things a lot. But I was repainting the whole vehicle in a layering technique that took forever. It turned out well, but it took forever. Yeah, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. Sorry, we give it a shot. What will work is this. So we can do stuff like put it over a little bit of an angle. There we go. Stick 'em to the rescue. It's still not angled enough. God bless it. I gotta turn the seat back down. I'm not kidding about the neck. Just a couple inches would make a big difference. That's what she said. Yeah. You like the sheepdog thing. You know what I'm talking about. You know, when I went to New York City, I'm the sheepdog. The girls are, and it wasn't, it was at Christmas time, like, it wasn't even that dangerous, but it's like, it's just normal, like, okay, the wife, the daughter, and I'm there. So I walk behind them. Like, I didn't have to go to class for that. I'm not paranoid, but, you're not going to help them. You're not going to be able to do anything about it if you're ahead of them. I mean, unless, you're expecting a minefield or something, and then maybe you do want to walk in front of them, but. You're walking with your girl next to a road. You're walking close. You're walking towards traffic. You're on the traffic side, Guys, you should know that. You saying I can't walk on the traffic side? You absolutely can. But why would you want to? I see this. I never would see this particular instant. And these newfangled people, man. I'll go to a gas station and they'll be getting ready to get gas or petrol or whatever the hell you call it, wherever you're from, right? And there's a guy and a girl, and the girl's driving. Nothing wrong with that. But it's time to get gas. And the guy's inside surfing on his phone, and she's pumping the fucking gas. And he's not, no. No. You saying women can't? I did not say that at all. I'm just saying that, dude, you need to be on watch too. Like, let her go out. If she wants to pump the gas, fine, get out and have a conversation with her and, assess the situation. I personally think gas stations are pretty dangerous places. And it's because they sell lottery tickets and alcohol and tobacco products. They sell things of addiction. If it's her car, are you going to be the one sitting in the passenger seat? I don't believe you. You're not that newfangled Generation Alpha or whatever. Is that what they call the Generation Alpha? The generation with no alphas is called Generation Alpha? I've never sat in the passenger seat while my girl or whatever is out there pumping. No. It's never going to happen either. I mean, what point do you draw the line? What about your daughter? You sit in there too while your daughter does it? What about your mom? We'll go with the grains that of this wood that's here. Yeah, she can get her own gas when she's traveling alone. I mean, you still ask her to pay for it if you want, but... Just like I almost always drive when the wife and I are together. We're going out doing stuff. Because why? Well, first of all, I'm more calm. Not because my wife drives crazy, because she doesn't. But I can't be in sheepdog mode if I'm not in control, right? So, but my wife gets phone calls and stuff. And it's stupid for somebody to be driving and taking the phone call while the other person's surfing on their phone, trying to stay calm and not look into traffic. I'm like, fuck it, I'll drive. Because nobody's going to call me. Who the fuck would want to talk to me, right? I get all my phone calls at work Monday through Friday. It's been so long since I rode with a girl to a gas station. I'm usually the one driving. Yeah, I don't have a problem being the passenger, but I'm. Now, if my wife did not observe proper following distances, I would come unfucking glued. That is my big thing. I don't mind riding with people that speed. Because I don't think speeding is dangerous. Now, within reason, obviously, right? It's a 70-mile-an-hour zone. If you're driving with the traffic, with the flow, that is the safest thing to do. Like, okay, it's a 70-mile-an-hour speed zone. Everybody's going 85 and not doing this, no problem, right? I mean, I don't do it because I don't want to pay for the cops' donuts, right? But that's why I don't do it. But it's not unsafe. I would even say it's probably safer. But you better stay off people's fucking ass. I have no problem riding with somebody who drives really fast. But if I'm riding as a passenger with somebody that follows too close to the person in front of them, I'm unnerved. And it might be because I had an accident. I had a rear end collision that I came out of okay a long time ago, and it's kind of like stuck in your brain. And the situations weren't the same. I mean, I fell asleep at the wheel, you know, and it wasn't at really high speed, but still, those things affect you. Just like if you've been not well to do before, it's hard to get the being frugal gene out of you. Not about everything, but about certain things. Like, there's no point in being, okay, I don't need to spend the money on that. It's like stuck in your. Hey, Marcus and I have talked about that before. All right, now we got to go up a little. We got to go up a little bit. I normally would add a white to this. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I may add like a cream color. Let's see what we get there. Just to give you another example, let's say I was with Mitch, okay, and we were driving to Historicon, and Mitch was driving, and he stopped to get gas. I wouldn't sit in the fucking car by myself. I'd go out and talk to him, and I don't care if he gets raped. It's not my responsibility. I just say it's weird to be sitting in a fucking car, You're pretty frugal. I've had some people get upset with me. Well, it depends what you're frugal about. I think people need to be frugal about some things. Like, for instance, we're talking about an airbrush, right? Buying an airbrush. Don't buy a $20 airbrush. You're better off not buying one. You need to buy one that costs about $150. Oh, that's too much money. Well, save it on the compressor. Don't buy a $700 compressor. So be frugal when you can be frugal about things. Don't be wasteful about shit. Don't order something to eat and don't fucking eat it. Like, you need to eat your food. Obviously not a problem with me, but you don't have to buy designer clothes, but you also don't need to buy, $15 tires when it's time to put tires on your car. Like, buy tires that aren't going to kill you, I live in a college town, and I know that there's cheap students, but the ones you see are the ones that are like, they're 20 years old and daddy bought them a BMW. And I'm like, I've been working at the same place for 30 years and I don't have a BMW. And don't really want one, but I'm just saying it's like, these people are going to have to be excruciatingly successful to maintain that standard of living. I think that's difficult. Sure, when you're when you're that age, you're like, man, life is great. But I'm just saying, looking back, gonna get going, gonna do the shield transfers once everything dries. What were you doing? What were you painting? Oh, you're doing Greeks. Man, hopefully it's not those little big man studios. Man, those decals are great, but they are a mind screw to do. They are just counterintuitive putting them on. It's a great product. I'd buy it again, but man, you need to not think about it. But they make some beautiful looking decals. And then we're going to lightly dry brush some of this green color over where the armor plate is. So it's not like, so it stands out a little bit more, but it's not going to be as well on here. Like, it want to look like some of it came off and stuff like that. We're gonna try to do a video that if I go to the flea market, the place is really cool. It's worth looking at. It's impressive. It's not as impressive as that hobby store in Calgary. That pretty much takes the. That really surprised me. And then I found out, I think recently, that they got rid of all their historical stuff. Or, sold it, never reordered it kind of thing. I don't know if that's the case, but I hope that's the case. I don't know if I'm going to like how this looks, but trust the process. I don't remember the last time I did something with wood grain and I didn't like how it turned out. So I got that on my side. This could be the first time, though. I don't want to just paint it brown and, oh yeah, that's made of wood. Yeah, I think it'd look good. Again, the secret is don't do like two colors, like you gotta add some depth. Make it look interesting. Somebody's motto, some war game company I forget what it is. Their motto is something along the lines of terrain worth fighting for. Or somebody's, well, obviously it's terrain, that's what the saying is. So some terrain company's like, terrain worth fighting for. I'm like, yeah, paint it like it's worth looking at, like it's got interesting. Not going to be able to see how good it truly looks until I put the green paint on the iron thing. I know that. I've done this enough times that it's still relatively early. Went to bed super early yesterday. At 9:15 or something like that. I painted in the garage and I'm like, alright, I'll see you guys a little later when we do it, and I just didn't have it in me. I wanted this paint to be plenty dry before I went and fooled with it. I did something the other day. I forget what it was. But because of the height that it was, I actually like sunk in my seat and was like painting it like this. I forget what it was. It was just a week ago. And it worked really well. I was like, man, I should have done that, you know, I should be doing it right now. Because it's comfortable and you're not messing your neck up. Which I don't have neck problems, but you try doing something in an awkward position and it won't take you long for your neck to not be too happy with you. You know, it happens to people when they're looking at their phone for too long. What I don't understand is how some people would say that doing this would stress them out. Because this is like uber relaxing. Like, I don't have a time frame when I have to get this done by. You know, you look at it and it's like, okay, is this done? No. It needs more. Well, what does it need? It needs a little bit more of this. Okay, well, then do that. You know, maybe it just comes naturally to me because I've been doing this for tens of thousands of hours. Maybe I just take it for granted, just like people that play guitar. They'd be like, oh, how can you not play guitar? It's easy. I'm like, I don't have those genes in me, you know? I got the genes of this. You know, I think that some people have an edge to do that. And then if you continue working on that thing that you have an advantage, you'll be more successful than most people, which is encouraging for you to keep doing it. But if somebody says, hey, you should learn how to play the fucking piano, I'm like, no. Too late, not interested, don't want to do it enough, you know. This fucker's gonna look great. Too late. But the last step I'm gonna do on that armor plate is something that I picked up from doing Gaslands vehicles. I had never done that. I had never done that part before. Actually, it's off of doing Mr. Green Screen. I just decided to do it, and I really liked the way it turned out, so. Man, I'm really glad I called that guy. That would have sucked to drive all the way down there and it's not open. I had a sneaky suspicion. Now, there is a chance that he's not there on Sunday either. But we'll make a voodoo doll of that guy. If that's the case. And if it wasn't so far away, I'd just like, well, I'll wait till Sunday and call him. You tell me you're going to be open at 8, I'll be there. That's more weekend for me. No reason fucking around until like noon. Okay, that's enough of the wood. We may end up touching it up later. Okay. Now the fun part. And we still got black lining and stuff to do. We got lots to do left on this thing to make it look It doesn't matter to me that maybe the person that it's for, all those stuff doesn't matter to them. I'm not saying it does or doesn't, but I do it for me. Like I don't want to like do something and it's like I could have done better. I don't want that feeling. I want to do it the best I can do it, or I'm not going to do it at all. Let's mix this color, which is 50-50, this and that. This and that, this 50-50. Okay? And we have a little bit of black there, which we'll use here in a moment. All right, I don't want to use this brush. This one's a little too precise. We want one that's a little bit more imprecise, but not a piece of shit either. So maybe I don't want one that has a great tip on it. If we're going to be a little abusive with this. Maybe this cheap fucker. Where's our dirty water? A little bit of black. You want to do that first because you want to leave yourself some room to highlight things. If you just start going in the color that you want it to be, you got nowhere to go. You backed yourself into a corner. And we're just going to lightly overbrush this. So it looks like they tried to match the color of the car, but they used a plate that wasn't galvanized correctly or something like that. So it's kind of like an in-between. It's not green and it's not iron, but it's the same green that we used. We're not done with it yet, but that's sitting in the doghouse. And we're going to do the same thing with this. I would have never done this if I hadn't done Mr. Green Screen when I did. All right, so you can still tell that this is obviously a metal plate and it has paint on it that has some adherence issues. Right, now because we went darker, now we can come in with this color, which is half of this and half of this. But remember, this doesn't have the wash on it and this does. So I'm still going to need to use a little bit of black, but very little. And now, we're just going to dry brush this with this color. And then we could do this now a little later. Some of the brighter paint like it hasn't faded off in a few places. But still leaving some of the rust, some of the corrosion. And we're still going to do drippings. And we can check this color to the body. Fuck, this thing looks good. Considering what it looked like before. You know, sometimes you'll look at some die cast, you're like, it doesn't look very good. But if we do this, we can make it really shine. And sometimes it's just because it's a uniform color, or maybe it's just a color that's just loud and obnoxious. This is what I like to do. I like to work on one thing. We fooled around, we putzed around with the Jeep because we needed that to dry before we can do the same thing with it. All right. That's enough for now. Oh, shit. We need that as well. We have some of this on the turf too. Discoloration, scratches. Just a few. All right. Now, black lining time. Every step that we do from now on brings you closer to the finished product. It makes it all tie in together even more. Not strong tone, not strong tone, dark tone. All right. Let's make sure these door panels stand out. It's really amazing how much detail these cheap ass toys have. It really is. You know, and they may decide not to paint the stuff on them, but like the detail is there. There's little lines and creases and stuff on this vehicle. That's really pretty cool. Oh, we get through headlamps. Ooh! I love doing headlamps. Like painting faces on figures. I love putting faces on figures. Once you figure out how to do it, once you figure out how you do it that you're happy with, how about contrast? That's much better than it is without the black lining on it. Hopefully, after you're doing every step, your creation looks better than it did before. Otherwise, you're doing it wrong. And we haven't gotten the drippings yet. And see, there's a little ridge here. Oh, we still got this front. Got this around. But there's a little bit of a ridge here. pick that out so your eye sees it. And when you do the dry brush of the weathering over it, that'll all tie in together. Okay, let's make sure we don't fuck up, and and let's see where the front of the hood is. 1957 Chevy truck front. Okay, the hood is down here. I'm glad I didn't put a line across it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to follow this. This shadow to there, this shadow to there. We're not going to put one across here because there isn't one there. We are going to make that stand out a little more. This is like a Chevy symbol. I don't know if I can get in there and do that. Well, I shouldn't say. I should say I can get in there and do that. The question is it going to be worth it? Which, if it's noticeable, it's worth it. If it's not noticeable, well, it's a waste of time then. Anything this needs from this angle. The whole, of course, the letters will be in white. It's easy to do since they're raised. It's the same thing we'd be doing if this was a tank. This is a World War II tank, we'd be doing exactly the same thing. Alright, I want to take a small pee break and be right back to do... Oh shit, I still have to do the turrets. Well, we'll come back and do the turrets. Do the same treatment on the turrets. Be right back. Wow, you're back. I didn't know you left. Well, I did because it was like nobody's fucking watching. I'm like, okay. Well, okay then, you know? All right. So we need to do the black lining on the turrets. The super readers? Yeah, okay. And then we will go and paint the headlamps. Which I think makes a huge difference to the look of a vehicle. I'm going to need to break for dinner, but we're going to put that off as long as we can. Been really successful the last couple nights. I've come home, have a snack like an apple or something like that, make some coffee, and get to this. And then later, have a light dinner. And that's worked for me the last couple nights. Kept me from snacking. Okay, that's one turret. Next. And we're going to have some green paint here on top of this mesh, the same way that we did on that. It's getting closer to being done, but it's still a bit away. I gotta remember, I gotta watch those Purge movies. I gotta remember where the hell I left off. I think I saw the second one. And yeah, it was better than the first one, like you said. Just built a kit from Bolt Action Blitzkrieg German support group. Hope to paint this weekend. Put a short video of it on your channel. So you do 28 and 15, but skip the stuff I do. I know, I'm unique in that. It must be really weird for people that do this and be like 28 millimeter gamers. Like, I don't like those Hot Wheels, that weird ass scale. Like, well, I've been doing that weird ass scale my whole life. You plan on using it with bolt action, or you're going to modify bolt action to your preference, like you did with Flames of War? I can't see myself ever playing a game that I'm like, I can't modify it. I got to play it the way it's written. I'm never ever doing that again. Ever. There's other stuff in the video? Okay. Well, I'm going to try to, I won't be live, but I'm going to try to take a video of this place I'm going on Sunday. Thought it was Saturday. It's going on Sunday. Good. Glad I called. That would have been very bad. That would have been bad. All right. So we have our black and white. The other morning I was like motivated to paint in the morning. I didn't do a live session or anything. I just did something I hadn't done in a long time, and I played music through my phone. And like, man, it got me get it done. Obviously, you can't be playing something like too mellow, or that wouldn't work. All right. A little spot of white. All right, let's make sure these little turn signals are in fact orange. They may not be. They are not. Okay, so we will do the same thing with this one. You modified a Puma armored vehicle with a huge gun. So you are doing stuff for Gaslands. Puma meaning like an SDK of Z234/2? I'll try to check it out. Do you speak in it? It's alright. It's fine if people don't want to speak. What I do find extremely weird is that people would use gloves. That's weird, you know. But hey, you know, you can make it however you want to, you know. It's your channel, you can do it however it is. It's just like, you know, if I see people that do these unboxings and they'll either be quiet, or I've even seen them talk, but they don't show their hands. And the first thing I'm thinking, why are you not showing your hands? Like, you got like swastikas tattooed on them or something, right? That's the first thing I think of. That's like the only reason I wouldn't want to show my hands, you know. There we go. Okay. And then these guys on the back are red. But, you know, I respect people, whatever reason they want to do it, you know. You don't want to use your name, you don't want to talk. I'm not trying to call anybody out. You decide how much privacy you want. Like, you know. Like, for me, it's never really been an issue about, you know, using a handle or something like that. I mean, I guess I haven't had a bad experience, but you want to steal my identity? Good, you can go to work for me tomorrow. I really don't want to go to work tomorrow. Oh, you want to be me, huh? Joke's on you tomorrow. And I'm lazy. I'm not going to pull out the yellow just for a little bit of a smidge of highlight. Now, we do need to do the Chevrolet letters in white. Because I like it. I like the way that looks. This thing looks good. This thing's look good, and we're still not done messing with it. Just to kind of give you an idea what this is going to look like. We still got to do rust and drippings and things like that, but your name is Justin. We know. But you know, I have one of my other viewers that he's on here frequently, and I don't know what his name is, and that's okay. You know, I don't want to. I'm not here to out people. You know. That's not my purpose. You know. That looks pretty effing good. That looks pretty effing good. And we still got more stuff to do to it. So, but the stuff that's left to do it is what I would call the fun stuff to do to it. The drippings are fun. These Chevrolet letters are fun. All right, let's make sure we have this thin properly, and we're not going to go all the way to white yet. We're going to start off with this and add white as the last step. Now, this may have been what I did this way. Let's assume a position. As long as I'm braced. Looking pretty good. That's a silly name town, you know that. It's not a reflection on you. You didn't get to name it. You know? Now, if you're responsible for naming it, yeah, then that one's on you. But I live in a silly name place also. That people argue about how to say it. I said there's a way to say it, and there's a way to say it if you've got no teeth. I don't say it the no teeth way. Who's Jetto named after, anyways? There's this town in Florida, out in the Panhandle, which is the part of Florida Alabama didn't want, that is called Two Egg. And other than it being a stupid name, it's also not pluralized correctly. At least call it Two Eggs. Oh, I caught some red sneaking in there. Silly bastard. Yeah, I'm not here to out people. Like, let's say, for instance, you contact me off-site and you told me your address. I wouldn't share that with anybody. I mean, even if, I just don't do shit like that, 1,800 people? Well, that's actually not that few. But then again, the town I live in has about 10 times that many, and it's a shit little town. But man, I keep that doesn't look bad. Now let me take a photo so I can show you. Let's zoom in here. Doesn't look bad. Man, I want to go eat, but see, this is the problem. I'm on a tear now. Now I'm like, man, let's do something else to make it. But I think I need to stop and eat. And yeah, this thing's looking pretty grand. We still got, I'd say, probably a couple more hours of work to do on it. Sounds like it's torture, but it isn't. This is the part I really, really enjoy. So, all right, folks. Thanks for stopping by.